Hello and welcome. Today we are going to look at a hard question. Why do so many marriages fall apart? Not from gossip, not from social media quotes, but from decades of psychological and sociological research. I will keep this talk very simple. Part 1. The big framework psychologists use to understand why marriages succeed or fail. Part 2. The 5 main forces that push marriages toward collapse, including infidelity. Let us begin. Part 1. How psychologists understand the rise and fall of a marriage. In 1995, psychologists Benjamin Carney and Thomas Bradbury proposed a model called the Vulnerability Stress Adaptation Model. In everyday language, they said that what happens to a marriage over time depends on 3 things. First, enduring vulnerabilities. This is what each person brings into the marriage: personality traits, attachment style, mental health, family history. Second, stressful events, money problems, illness, job loss, children and parenting stress, immigration, legal trouble, or extended family drama. Third, adaptive processes, how the couple communicates, how they fight, how they support each other under pressure. If you mix many vulnerabilities, a lot of stress, and weak coping habits, the marriage is more likely to slide into distress and divorce. If you mix fewer vulnerabilities, manageable stress, and repair skills, the marriage can stay strong even under pressure. Later, in a long-term study of newlyweds, Ted Houston and his team followed couples for many years and watched who stayed and who divorced. They found 3 main storylines for marriages that eventually collapsed. Enduring dynamics. The problems were already present during courtship: criticism, disrespect, mismatched expectations. The couple never really solved them. Emergent distress. The marriage began warm and hopeful. Over time, small unresolved conflicts built up. Negativity slowly increased. Connection slowly decreased. Disillusionment. The relationship started very intense and idealized. Each partner saw the other as almost perfect. When real life and real flaws appeared, disappointment was sharp. Affection dropped fast. So psychology does not see divorce as one random event. It sees it as the result of vulnerabilities, stress, and daily interaction patterns that either heal or harm. With that framework in mind, let us turn to the specific forces that most often break a marriage. Part 2. 5 major forces that push marriages toward collapse. Number 1. Toxic communication and everyday contempt. John Gottman at the Gottman Institute spent decades observing couples in the lab and following them over time. He identified 4 patterns that strongly predict divorce. Criticism. Attacking your partner's character. You always, you never. Not, this behavior hurt me, but you are a failure. Contempt. Eye-rolling. Mocking. Sarcasm with a feeling of superiority. This is not just anger, it is disrespect. Gottman's work shows that contempt is the single strongest predictor that a marriage is in serious danger. Defensiveness. Refusing to take responsibility. Meeting any complaint with counterattack or excuses. Stonewalling. Shutting down and withdrawing instead of staying engaged when issues come up. Couples who allow these habits to dominate slowly poison their emotional climate. Love can still be present, but the day-to-day atmosphere becomes hostile or cold. Marriages often collapse not because there is conflict, but because conflict is handled with attack, contempt, and withdrawal instead of curiosity and repair. Number 2. Unresolved stress, mental health, and life pressure. All couples experience stress. The difference is what happens when stress enters the system. Large studies show that when one or both partners suffer from high psychological distress, the risk of divorce is higher, especially if there is little mutual support. Financial strain, chronic illness, overwork, and parenting pressure all add weight to the relationship. In Carney and Bradbury's model, stress is not the enemy by itself. The enemy is stress plus poor adaptive processes. For example, if money is tight, but the couple can talk openly, plan together, and comfort each other, the stress can even bring them closer. If money is tight and every conversation turns into blame and avoidance, the same stress becomes a wedge that pushes them apart. Number 3. Infidelity and betrayal of trust. When researchers ask divorced people why their marriage ended, infidelity appears again and again, not as the only cause, but as one of the top reasons, and very often as the final straw. Studies where divorced men and women describe their breakup show a consistent pattern. They mention lack of commitment, ongoing conflict, and affairs. For many, the affair is the moment when a troubled marriage crosses a line. What felt fixable yesterday now feels broken today. Infidelity is powerful because it attacks 3 layers at once. Trust in the partner. You promised you were with me, and you gave intimacy to someone else. Trust in the relationship. The story of us against the world is replaced by I am alone and replaceable. Trust in the self. The betrayed partner can think, was I not enough? Am I foolish? The unfaithful partner can think, what does it say about me that I have hurt someone like this? Affairs rarely appear in a happy, secure marriage. Most research and clinical work shows that they usually emerge in a context of existing disconnection, poor communication, sexual dissatisfaction, or unresolved resentment. That does not excuse them, but it explains why they are both a symptom of deeper problems and a cause of new trauma. Some marriages do heal after infidelity, especially when the unfaithful partner shows full accountability, transparency, and consistent repair, often with professional help. But statistically, infidelity is one of the strongest individual events associated with separation and divorce. Number 4. Chronic injustice in effort, housework, and emotional labor. Once couples live together, the way they share responsibilities becomes central. Research on modern marriages repeatedly finds that when one partner, very often the woman in heterosexual couples, carries more than her fair share of housework, childcare, and the invisible mental load, resentment grows. It is not only the hours of work, it is the perception of unfairness, the feeling that the relationship is another job. Long-term studies of couples with children show that when the division of labor becomes more unequal, mothers who see this as unfair report more conflict and lower satisfaction. Other research shows that couples who share chores and childcare more equally tend to report better relationship quality and, in some samples, more frequent and satisfying sex. So when a partner says, "I do everything around here," it is rarely about a single chore. It is about feeling unseen, unsupported, and taken for granted. Over time, this quiet injustice can leak into every area of the marriage and make it easier to check out, emotionally or physically. Number 5. Emotional withdrawal and the slow drift apart. Many marriages do not end with a screaming match. They end in silence. Psychologists sometimes speak of emotional divorce. This is when the couple is still legally married, may be still living together, but emotionally, they are no longer a team. They stop sharing inner life. They stop turning to each other for support. They use work, children, hobbies, or screens as their main emotional home. Recent studies have linked high use of the internet, gaming, or social media as an escape, together with low marital satisfaction and low sexual satisfaction, to higher levels of emotional detachment. The danger here is that there is no dramatic event to force change. Because there is no big explosion, both people can accept a cold, distant roommate marriage for years, until one day, one partner says, "I am done," and the other feels shocked, even though the disconnection has been growing for a long time. Let us bring this together. From a research point of view, marriages usually collapse when several forces line up. Deep vulnerabilities that are never talked about, life stress that is never faced together, toxic daily communication, especially contempt, chronic unfairness in effort, infidelity that shatters trust, and emotional withdrawal that slowly turns partners into strangers. None of this means that divorce is always a failure. Sometimes it is a necessary exit from something unsafe or deeply unhealthy. But if you are listening to this in a relationship you want to protect, you can use the science as a mirror. Ask yourself, do we attack each other, or do we attack the problem together? Do we repair after conflict, or do we just move on and leave cracks in the wall? Is there any betrayal, big or small, that we are refusing to address? Does one of us feel like the unpaid caretaker of everything? Are we turning toward each other when life is hard, or turning toward our phones, our work, or someone else? Your honest answers will show you where to begin. Small corrections, repeated often, can change the whole direction of a marriage. If this talk helped you see relationships more clearly, let me know. Write one line in the comments. Here is one habit I want to change in my relationship. If you want more psychology explained in simple language, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who cares about building healthier love, not just louder drama. Thank you for listening and for taking the time to think seriously about how we love and how we stay.